Hi, my name is Jagdish Bora, and I am a faculty member in the Departments of Social Work and Management at Assam Downtown University, Guwahati. My specialization is human resource management, and I am glad to be here today to take you through the subject of labor welfare. Today, I shall be discussing about the characteristics of Indian labor because before understanding the subject of labor welfare, we should know about the labor whose welfare we are talking about. Labor in India are in two sectors, the organized sector and the unorganized sector. Though our topic on labor welfare will be focused on labor in the organized sector, we shall talk a bit about labor in the unorganized sector also. So, the organized sector of the industry are registered and licensed units or undertakings, be it in the manufacturing sector or in service organizations, banks, commercial establishments, etc. Thus, the labor in this sector are employed in relatively stable jobs with regular wages and social security benefits like Provident Fund, gratuity, and employees' state insurance scheme. The unorganized sector is not regulated by the government, and therefore the labor in this sector works on daily wage basis without any job security or without any social security benefits. Now, the organized sector of the industry consists of workers in factories and establishments where workers are employed following laid down procedures and their terms and conditions of work are well defined by the laws of the land. The main characteristics of industrial labor in the organized sector are: number one, social composition. In the early days of industrialization, labor force was composed of people who were illiterate and from poor backgrounds without any skills. However, during the later part of industrialization, people of all social classes started entering the labor force with higher education and higher skills, which was the need of the hour. There developed a greater sense of equality among workers, and today their children go to good schools and colleges and emerge as doctors, engineers, teachers, etc. Many of these workers go to the industrial training institutes to develop higher skills in trades like welding, carpentry, etc. And therefore, there is a shift from the illiterate and unskilled to the literate and skilled. Number two, gender composition. In the early stages, male workers were predominant in the factories. But now, female workers have increasingly taken to industrial work, both skilled and semi skilled. In fact, the Factories Act 1948 has laid down restrictions on female workers working at night, but now there have been some amendments, state amendments, where even night work is permissible under certain circumstances for female workers. Number 3, emergence of tribal labor. This gained momentum after independence with many factories located in tribal land. Now, of course, they have integrated into the mainstream of industrial labor. Number 4, high rate of absenteeism and labor turnover. One of the major characteristics of Indian workers is that they are in the habit of abstaining from work and a greater tendency to change jobs. Now, as far as the unorganized sector is concerned, the organizations in the unorganized labor markets include small industries, tiny industrial units, cottage industries, shops and establishments, hotels, restaurants, etc. Demand for and supply of labor in this market is mostly balanced through casual labor and contract labor. Employees are normally offered minimum wages as announced by the government, and some organizations avoid even paying the minimum wages. And there is no protection for these labor as it is not well regulated. And normally the organizations do not provide employee benefits, social security measures, welfare measures, fringe benefits, etc. Most of the organizations do not have trade unions, or if they do have, trade unions are normally weak. Therefore, bargaining power of the labor is almost nil, and employee grievances are not redressed properly because the employees are at the mercy of the employer and they have to accept the terms and conditions proposed by the employer. The nature of employment is also casual in nature. That means they are there one day and they are not there the other day. Every day they will come looking for work. The employer may keep them or may not keep them depending on whether work is available or not. As I have said before, they are mainly casual labor and contract labor. So casual labor, we are talking of labor which is not of regular permanent nature, and contract labor means those labor who are supplied by the contractors or working for the contractors. So the nature of the employment is casual. They are also illiterate and ignorant because they are mostly or almost all of them or majority of them are unskilled or at the most semi-skilled, and therefore they are illiterate and ignorant even of their rights. As I said, since the unions do not exist in such organized employment, or even if they do, they are weak, the bargaining power of the labor also is weak, and therefore their wages and other benefits are below par, and in many cases it is only the minimum wages or even less than that. Number 4, many of them are indebted to the money lenders. There are money lenders who lend money at exorbitant rates of interest. So many of these labor, they take money from these money lenders and then they find it difficult to repay the money. And in many cases, we have seen that these money lenders, they come to the main gate of these industries on paydays so that they can catch the labor coming out of the gate to demand their money, which they have loaned to these employees. And therefore, it has also been noticed that on paydays, many of these employees do not come for work because they are afraid of these moneylenders. Number 5, they are exploited by their employers. There is no government control, no government benefits, no government scrutiny on these employers, no unions or weak unions, and therefore there is a lot of exploitation by their employers. As a result, living conditions are poor and their working conditions are extremely bad. So again, to reiterate, demand for and supply of labor in this market is mostly through casual labor and contract labor. Most of the labor are not members of any union and their wages are low. They also do not have any social security benefits or welfare facilities. We have now broadly understood the main characteristics of labor in the organized and unorganized sector in India, and hereafter we shall be discussing about the welfare aspects of labor. As we come to the end of today's lesson, I would advise all of you to study this topic in greater detail from any of the textbooks prescribed in the syllabus and expand the material in writing. I look forward to seeing you in the next session.